I've been doing a sugar and digital detox. So
Right.
she delivered a coffee, and a coffee detox. And she delivered a coffee with the sugar in it, and I almost didn't have it. Morning, Paul. You're on mute.
Sorry. Hello. Good morning.
That's all right. Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Very good. So welcome to AFQY Cafe.
Thank
Just
you so much.
just letting everyone come in, and we do. It's just pretty casual. We can turn our sound on and have a chat as people come in. I usually keep it in gallery view so I can see as people pop in or not.
Yeah.
But yeah. Where in the world does that accent come from?
Ireland. I just moved here from a long stint in the Middle East. So spent 13 years in the Middle East. So,
where in the Middle East?
In Dubai, was home, but spent a lot of time in Saudi.
I used to live in Muscat years ago, then moved here
Cool.
about 17 years ago.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
I've been not joking. I was just going to say, then are you really Jason Bourne? But maybe. Well, that's right. No, he's all right. What are we doing there?
I'm building a bunch of tech companies and then exited 2 of them and then just relocated our family here 7 months ago.
Are you Vincent's mate?
Yes. That's the connection.
Important question.
Yeah.
Can you teach me Irish?
Oh, no. I could barely teach myself that language now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can understand if someone spoke to me in it, but for me to actually, I think it's one of the most complicated languages you could possibly learn.
Funny, I've learned 5 languages and everybody says that, but I'm actually of Irish descent.
Oh, really?
So I better welcome a few other people as they're coming in, because here's Kofi for her first time. Joe's back, Neil's back, Sean's back. Bashava's just coming online. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to AFQY Cafe. Have you got your coffees?
Morning. Good.
I've been sitting here working. I had my breakfast. With the Tuies. We might be out of here. So what we'll do is what we do for AFQY Cafe, which in the early days was to go around and introduce yourself briefly. So it's not a rundown of your CV. It's not a life story. If it is, I'll give you a little cut off. I'll jump in there. But it's sort of who you are, where you are, and what you do and what your situation is, and then the best and worst part of lockdown. So for an example, I might say, I'm right in the line. I run AFQY, AFQY Cafe, and I'm in West Auckland with my wife and our dog. And the best part of lockdown is I have done a sugar and digital detox. The worst part of lockdown is I'm still in agony from all the exercise. So with that example, we'll hand over to Paul with a lovely Dubai accent.
Is that really a Dubai accent I have? Oh, no. Moved to New Zealand 7 months ago with our family. Really enjoying the lockdown, being honest. Because on the back of the lockdown, got involved in an industry I knew nothing about 2 months ago, and it's completely taken off. But here with my wife and 2 kids, so a 5-year-old and a 7-month-old. And previous to this, I spent 13 years in the Middle East, and before that I was in Ireland. So, but really enjoying time in New Zealand at the moment. It's a very nice change from the Middle East.
Last question before we move on to the next person. Are you an Irish footballer, or a rugby union, what do I say, rugby league fan?
Rugby union, yeah. I think when I was growing up, it was all about soccer or football, and then now it's rugby. Yeah, it's changed. Yeah.
Cool bananas. So we'll go to Kofi as another newbie, and then we'll get to Vishav, who's the next newbie. But over to you.
A few quiet yarns before. So I'm based in Wellington in Newtown, just myself and Andre. I'm basically living in 2 rooms at the moment with a tiny bit of garden. So that's been what I've seen for the last little while. no pets, which is sad, but I get to pat the cat again now, which was part of Upstairs' bubble. So that's been the highlight of my week, is guilt-free cat patting. I work for Akama in Wellington. That's a bespoke software company, so I'm an account manager. Trying to be social with people online, doing sales is a bit challenging at these times, but it's nice to see all your faces and meet new people.
Cool. And as
Thing.
what?
Best and worst thing. Okay, so the best thing was the cat.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
thought you'd done that.
I haven't done
Okay. What? Fire away.
And the worst thing is not seeing my workmates, to be honest.
Yeah.
I miss their actual faces.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting, all this video calling. I think I spent the first 2 weeks of lockdown on 8 hours of video calls a day and then working through the night. And it was just absolutely exhausting. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I think for me it's kind of the same, but I was just going to say, before we get to Vishav, who's in the newbie, the first newbie who was actually in the call with me was Millie. So we'll go to Millie first and then Vishav.
Cool. So, like Ryan said, I'm Millie. I am also a West Aucklander, which I learned about Ryan. He's a West Aucklander. I work in the events industry.
Does that look more familiar?
Yeah. So I work for a company called Conference. We've also been on like 100 calls pretty much every day. It's been exhausting. Best part of lockdown is I picked up an old hobby. I've started to learn guitar from scratch. So a month ago, all I knew about guitar was how to hold it. And now I can play about 4 or 5 chords, starting to learn some songs, but like little bits.
You know what we're going to do now, don't you, Millie?
Oh,
That's a song.
I can't play a song. I can't play the full thing.
What are those famous lines? Strum a few chords, sing a few notes.
Hold on.
Yeah, I think it's a Sid Vicious quote as well. But sorry,
Yeah,
we haven't got the worst part of lockdown out of yet, so we'll come back to that.
I've just learned the riff to what's it called? Seven Nation Army, but it's so slow that you probably won't even pick it up. So I need to practice that. So when I come back on this, say in a week's time, I'll probably try to play a little bit for you. And
Okay,
the worst part of lockdown has been, I don't want to bring anyone's mood down, but I lost my dog second week of lockdown.
Oh.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear that.
It happens, I guess.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I have my first dog. It's my wife's 5th dog, but growing up with cats and rabbits. Rabbit's a long story. Don't worry about that one. But yeah, it's just so amazing. They're like little people. So it's quite a difference. So I can just imagine. Well, let's move on then, so we don't dwell on that subject, and get over to Vishav, my brother from another mother. So you're on mute, buddy. Hang on. Have you got that, or shall I do it for you?
Yeah, got it.
Got it. There we go.
Hey guys, Vishav this side. I'm from Central West Auckland. I will try to relate to the West side. All the good people are there. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm in Linfield with the family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one son. He's a 12-year-old, and I'm homeschooling him these days. And I have my parents as well in my home. So that's been, I think I would say, blessings, because they were with me, and then we are stuck in one home. So good to know my, old chap, because sometimes you are so busy, you don't spare time too much to sit with them and talk through certain issues, or their life scenarios or what they went through. So I think we share a lot of stories, I think, and that was, I think, good part as well of this lockdown. I think I came to know more about what they went through, what was their life journey, and all this stuff. And yeah, and now what I do, actually, I work with a company called Elevate IT, and we offer IT services, consulting services. And worst part, I think, before the lockdown started, I lost 7 kg because I started in December and I was on my target to reduce my 10 kgs by May end. But then,
What have you gone back to?
so I gained 2 kg back. Like I lost 7 and then put 2 back. So actually, I moved my target by 5 kg further down. So I'm
That's okay. You didn't completely rebound.
Yeah, yeah. That's it from my side, guys.
Cool.
Yeah, good to be part of the cafe. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Good to see new people.
Well, now let's go to Sean, who's I guess the longest serving member of the team aside from myself, or most regular attendee.
It's the only reason I get up in the morning. To come
Mate,
in.
I love you too. I love you too.
So Sean Muller, I'm Wellington based. I actually live just outside of Wellington in Broadmeadows with my wife and 3 lovely children. With the change to level 3, my oldest child, who has moved out and moved in with her partner, was able to come and visit her little brothers and sisters, which was really great yesterday. Best and worst part. Best part is I have a 6-week-old son, and so being at home to be able to help my wife out has been a godsend for her because her mother couldn't come visit, obviously. The worst part has been the consulting services. The space that I'm in really requires me to have a lot of contact with people, and especially government people. And right now, with everybody so busy just trying to keep the lights on, I haven't been able to get in front of the people I need to be able to get the work I need done. So I've been missing deadlines because I'm waiting on people to get back to me, and it's starting to be a little draining. So that's me.
Very cool. We're going to go down south to Dunedin to Kyle Gregg.
Hello. I think I missed the initial question.
So it's the usual is introduce yourself. It's not your CV. It's not your life story. Just the brief name, company, what you do, lockdown situation, family, kids, and then the best and worst part of lockdown. Just to give people a snapshot.
All right. So my name is Kyle Gregg. I am the sales manager for Optimus Systems, an IT company based in Auckland, and I am the South Island presence. Best and worst part of lockdown, spending all the extra time with the family. Although my wife jokes with me that she thinks she spends more time with me when I go to work and come home than when I go down the hallway and work at my desk. It's kind of hard to disconnect, having worked so close to home life.
Does that include the 6 hours you spent helping me set up my Office 365?
It didn't take 6 hours because it was one email address, and if it did take 6 hours, it's because you kept taking control of the mouse, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't take you 6 hours. It took me.
No, it took
6
you
hours.
6 hours. But yeah, worst part of lockdown, I don't know. I like to get out and socialise and talk to people and things like that. And Zoom meetings are great and all. But yeah, no, I think like the person who was speaking before, I've also retracted a bunch of gains that I had in the weight loss department, sitting at home, not doing my 9 to 10 kilometres of walking a day. That's been probably the worst bit about it.
There was a famous marathon runner, I think. Was he? I don't know if he's famous, but if you Google it, they run a marathon on the deck. So they literally went in about 5-meter circles for 23 kilometers.
About that.
Might have been the person that mentioned it, Victoria. Yes. So we've got you there, Kyle. We know you're in Dunedin, Optimus, best and worst. So let's go to Ashin, who's also a first timer today, and then we've got a few more who have been here before. We'll come back around to you. So you know what the deal is, Ashin?
Morning. I just got your invite from yesterday from LinkedIn. Thanks for that. I to be honest with you, I don't have a full picture of what this is about, so I'm actually really yeah, so I'm.
So what we do is we go around and one by one introduce ourselves, which is a brief rundown, name, what you do, where you are, lockdown situation, and then the best and worst part of lockdown, just so people get a snapshot. So sort of brief, quick, and fun.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So, hi buddy. My name is Ashin. I'm based in Auckland City Central, and I work at an events company called Conference. I'm a conference producer there. Best part about lockdown would be actually learning how to cook properly, as opposed to just grabbing a slab of steak and putting it on the frying pan and then having that for dinner. I'm actually playing around with a few different spices and trying to connect with my ancestors, my Korean ancestry, and learning how to cook Korean food as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so cooking's been a lot of fun. What's not been fun about lockdown is having to stay alone for about just over a month. It's not being able to see or be with anyone it's been a little bit hard. But yeah, that's all coming to an end soon. So looking forward to that one.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully it's coming to an end as long as... Has everyone seen the articles just before we go to the next person? Thank you very much, Ashin. That's really good. And congrats on the cooking. And when we're down off lockdown, we'll be around for a Korean barbecue.
Oh, definitely. I'll be looking forward to that one as well.
Cool. Now, before we get on to the next person, has anybody seen the articles about the McDonald's queues yesterday? And there were like 10 people who bought over $100 worth of McDonald's and stood around sharing their burger.
Oh no. I went to McDonald's. I'm going to put my hand up. I sat in the queue for a little bit, but...
You weren't sharing out like your bubble, were you?
No, I wasn't.
That's right. I went to the school where I walked the dog, and there were 4 families playing basketball together with probably between them, I think about 12, 15 kids, ranging from 2 years old to a bunch of teenagers. And I'm pretty confident they don't all live in the same house, but yeah, no McDonald's was seen at the school. So let's go to Vincent, as Vincent kindly brought along our new Kiwi, Paul Kenny from Dubai. So better check in on Vincent.
Yeah, yeah, physically probably 3 meters or 4 meters from Paul. Different bubble, but
you could touch the window.
Huh?
You could touch the window on your side of on your house.
Yeah, if I go on the other side of the house and he goes on, yeah, we can wave at each other. Yeah, best part of lockdown, definitely being able.
Who are you first? There's lots of new people. There's lots of new people that don't know who you are.
Oh yeah, I'm Vincent. So moved to New Zealand 7 years ago, and been enjoying it since. And my 2 kids were born here. Latest one was born in January, so
they can support a decent rugby team.
Yeah,
good on you, mate.
Yeah, so they can pick. They're like, well, I can probably play with the All Blacks to start with, and then go to France and make some more money or whatever. If that's still possible, who knows. Yeah, so best part of lockdown is definitely spending time with the family. It's been pretty cool to be able to work. First of all, to be able to work, but also, now and then having a break and take care of the crying baby or whatever. And the worst part, is probably to be so far from like my parents and sister there in France, and not really knowing when we will be able to see them or go there, or because they all want to see, of course, Nico, who's 3 months old, but they might see him when he's like a year and a half. Who knows? So
you got a 3-month-old and Sean's got a 5-week-old. We got anything else between 5 weeks and 3 months in there? Anybody? No. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Fat daddy, two big daddies. Woo.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay. So everybody's patiently been waiting. And so let's go with the person next to Vincent, which is Gemma McKenzie.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm from Hamilton. I live with my husband and our dog and our cat, and the dog is being very needy this morning. Best thing about lockdown has been getting more time to myself and working on some projects on the side that I hadn't been able to put any time towards. The worst thing about lockdown has been not being able to catch up with one of my friends who I also use her home gym, so not being able to work out.
And one of Gemma's side hustles is doing the writing for AFQY. So last night I posted her article about the second AFQY. We've got the third and the first to clock up, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So Gemma obviously is an amazing writer. She wouldn't be helping me because I'm a terrible writer. So let's go to Joe, who is Vincent's partner in crime with the future of work. Introduce yourself for everybody and your best and worst part. Now we're 4 weeks in.
Oh, hi everyone, I'm Joe. I'm the co-founder with Vincent of a business where we focus very much on the future of work and how we support organisations to make that transition. The best thing about lockdown, and I only appreciated it yesterday when I went out for the first time really, was the peace and quiet. And it's been such a nice rhythm, you know, getting up and having breakfast with the kids and then working all day and having a walk and sitting outside on the deck and it's quiet and there's no traffic noise. Yesterday I went out for the first time in 5 weeks and it was just chaos. There were cars everywhere. There's the noise of traffic already. You know, masses of people, and it just made me a little bit nostalgic in a funny way for what has been an incredibly peaceful and reflective sort of 5 weeks. The worst thing has been, you know, being separated like everyone feels. I'm just desperate to see real people and to be able to see their faces in real life. And, you know, being separated from family has been hard. So that's me.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I've almost been enjoying the quiet to the point that I'm not looking forward to lockdown coming out, which is a weird feeling. I don't know. Hands up if anyone has that same feeling at times, in terms of yeah. It's sort of like it reminds me, right? So as a young buck, when I used to go away for New Year's and we would go somewhere like Queenstown or Wanaka, it actually got to the point where I was like, oh, really? New Year's, are we going to go away? And it's going to be absolutely mad chaos. And of course, all my other mates at that age were like, what? I was like, oh, I'm just over it. Needless to say, I then went on to do things like run the Ministry of Sound with thousands and thousands of people in a contained space, so it was a bit different. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying this quiet. So who's up next? Where we go? Victoria.
Hello everybody, for those that I haven't met especially. So I'm in Auckland, I'm in Birkenhead. I'm currently between jobs, sort of hunting for the next opportunity. So it's been an interesting time in lockdown. I am, the best part has been, as you said, the quiet, slow down of the pace of life, spending some time with the kids. Also, watching different people step up. There's been some amazing virtual events and speakers and things like that, which have been really interesting, and I've enjoyed. Worst part for me is I like to connect, I like to be with people, so I've found it quite tough, you know, missing friends, missing, you know, being out and about, seeing people. But, you know, you take the opportunity to do other things as well and catch up on other projects, so that's been cool. But I am looking forward to getting back into a little bit of life.
Yes, I almost want to say a little bit of normalcy, but that would start the raging debate about the new normal and what that looks like. So maybe to kick that off, we'll go to the X-Wing hangar with Commander Forster.
Just unmute. Hi everyone. Who do I work for? I work for MuleSoft, which is an integration company. We're owned but run independently by Salesforce. Best thing, and I like the comments everyone said, you know, the peace and quiet, increased native birds, which is great. We've got some Kiraroo, Tui, Waka Waka around here, so it's been great. We've actually got an influx of wax eyes presently, which is great. Even though our cats are struggling with not being allowed to go for them because we drag them back regularly. The worst thing is just that connection with people, face to face, cup of coffee, shaking hands, having a hug. That's the main thing. And we've got a grandchild due at the beginning of next month, and we would love to be there for that.
Oh, wow, yeah, that would be amazing to be able to be there. Take it for the birth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that in New Zealand or is that overseas?
Kerry. No, Kerry. Okay. Well, it's over the Harbour Bridge, so you know.
You'll make it, I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, considering what people are doing in the queues at KFC and McDonald's, I think if you're going to break you could at least go to the driveway and on our bubble walk, we've seen a lot of it's more actually the elderly parents who have driven to the children's place with the grandkids, and the grandkids and the parents are say on their deck or on one part of their property, and the grandparents are leaning on their bonnet and talking, and we sort of had a little wry smile about breaking the bubble, but they were doing it in a 2 meter distancing. I guess the concern is that them travelling around makes everyone else feel like they could travel around, but they were doing it quite well, I guess. The odd grandparents that we saw like that, versus one place we walked past that had like 10 trucks parked on the lawn and a raging party, which was definitely not 2 meter distancing. All right, so we've also got Marcel van Dyke. So let's go to Marcel for introduction, best and worst part of lockdown. And then we'll go to Daniel, and then Dean, we'll get you to pop your camera on because we're at the AFQY Cafe, so we've got to be able to see
you. Worst part, to be honest, the worst part is just queuing to get into the supermarket. It's no big deal, but it's a pain in the ass, especially when you just want a few things and you've got, to wait like an hour to get in there to get a bottle of milk. So you go to the dairy instead. Best part, I've been learning a musical instrument and challenging myself every day to play it. So I'm getting better.
Now, Millie's learning the guitar. You can actually play the guitar, can't you? And you're learning the drums.
Me? No. My son plays guitar. I'm learning the drums, yeah.
I was thinking maybe we could have a jam today.
No, not at all. I'm getting better now, man. I can actually, hold a bit of rhythm, and decided to learn Sandman from Metallica. So that's my go-to song. It's easy apparently because Lars doesn't play very difficult drums, and it's probably true. So I'm giving it a shot.
I'm only laughing because you highlighted that music video of the first big rock concert in Russia after the Kurgan.
That's the song, mate. That's the one.
Yeah, apparently you look on YouTube, Sandman in Russia.
Moscow, yeah.
Moscow, and it's this massive concert. Like you've never seen so many people. Honestly, like you might have been to a massive concert or whatever, but this is just insane. And they have helicopters flying around in the background, telling people to move back because the whole audience is moshing. Daniel, you'll love it, mate. Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So
no worries. That's about it for me.
Cool, man. And I saw your article. I haven't read it yet, but it's got me thinking in relation to the future of work with the big shift to Vietnam. But let's jump over to Dean Fletcher. So Dean's a first timer. You're still on mute, but while you unmute yourself, the idea is to give a brief intro in terms of name, what you do, where you are, what your lockdown situation is, like kids, grandparents, whatever the case might be, and then the best and worst part of lockdown, just a snapshot.
Right, so I'm in my mid-50s, and I live out south, a place called Conifer Grove. We don't have any kids at home. However, we have a 4-year-old German Shepherd who's a big kid. One of the toughest things about lockdown is my partner has a granddaughter that's less than 2. So one of the toughest things is the inability to actually have close contact with Boston. So that's kind of quite tough, actually. Although things in level 3 have changed, where my partner is able to be the emergency babysitter when her daughter needs to go into work, as she's an essential worker. So that's fine. One of the good things about lockdown, I had the great opportunity to actually finish all those little jobs around the house where I already had the materials to complete it and stuff. So that was quite good. One of the frustrating things about lockdown is going to the supermarket, just having to wait for half an hour to get in. I had been going to Gilmore's to get some almond milk, and 2 weekends ago I was told that, sorry, you actually have to have an account now. You can't just be a EFTPOS buyer. That's a little frustrating. Had to wait in line for half an hour only to be told at the last minute you need an account, and we'd been shopping there for weeks and weeks. So I work in the IT sector, so it's going to be interesting times moving ahead for us. Companies are going to be absolutely in financial lockdown. IT undoubtedly will get squeezed a lot. So I'm sort of picking most customers will be very light on infrastructure style upgrades that involve replacing hardware. They'll be sweating out their assets. They'll be looking at creative ways to accomplish the same outcomes are getting at a lower cost. So it's going to be quite interesting times.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same basket on that one, regardless of where we're from. Possibly some areas not so bad, but great that your partner's able to see Boston and increase the bubble. That's a good news. And those projects, I don't know how you manage to get all your projects done. My projects still don't seem to have moved. I have done some, but they haven't quite moved as much as the sound of yours have. But that's really good.
Yeah, well, I guess now you're lucky because you have got the ability to get all your bits and pieces online from Bunnings and just collect it. But I guess the catch there is sometimes the bits and pieces you want to buy, you want to look and feel and touch first rather than make the purchase online and hope you've got the right thing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I saw the Bunnings ad for click and collect. I haven't seen all the other ones yet, but I still haven't done the jobs I've got the tools for. So we'll jump over to Glenn, who's down out North Canterbury way. I think that's right. But intro yourself. You know the deal, Glenn.
Yep. So I'm Glenn. I'm a South Island account manager for a company called Lateral Security. We do IT security testing. The best thing about lockdown.
Where are you?
Oh, I live half an hour inland from Christchurch in a tiny little town with no pub called Kirwee.
Kirwee?
Yep. Which is actually in India. It's based after a town in India where the guy that founded it did something over there. I'm not sure why. The best thing about putting all the stuff everybody else has mentioned. Best thing about lockdown. I've spent nothing on petrol in 5 weeks. That's, for me, driving half an hour each day, or an hour each day, that's $800 we haven't spent on petrol.
That's massive.
The worst thing on lockdown is probably the impact it's had on my wife, because she's got underlying health conditions and she's crawling the walls trying to get out. And her, she's conscious of Mother's Day coming up, and was her father's birthday on Monday, and not being able to just pop over and sit and talk crap with the in-laws, and I really miss it too, because they're not the most technically savvy. That's probably the worst thing for me, is the impact it's had on those around me because they can't reach out and see people.
Yes, the technology for, I guess, for the elderly is something I've been thinking about. Like my parents, my dad once tried to change the TV channel with a calculator. So lucky for him, Mum's actually a CIO and capable of plugging in a computer and turning it on. So yeah, everyone's in, well, not everyone, but they're probably, like anything in the population, there are different groups where people are affected differently in different situations. So just looking around, the last person we haven't heard from is Daniel Hopper, sitting down there quietly behind that big mic, those big headphones, and a thrash guitar. No, you're not on, buddy. That mic's not working. No sound from you yet. Something's not plugged in. No, you had it. It sounded like you had it. No. So while you work that out, when Daniel comes on, we hear his voice cracking into it. Then we'll hand over to him to introduce himself. What I thought we might do is if everybody smiles, then I'll get a screenshot for today's post. I took one before, but you may not have been smiling, and sometimes I catch people out.
Testing.
There you go. All right. So just before you get started, let's everyone have a smile for the camera. Vincent, that's not a smile. Where's your teeth? Want to see teeth? Yeah. Kyle, that's not smiling. Where are your teeth? Come on, you're holding us all up. Kofi, I saw that. Come on. Okay. That'll do. We've got a good one there. So Daniel, now you got your ultra rig setup working. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, it's good having all the toys, but if you can't work them. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that concert before, because I've watched that many times. It also includes bands such as AC/DC and Pantera, and honestly, it's like a million. So it's the biggest gathering of people for a concert ever. It was like a million people. Learn the story when the communist Russia, changed from USSR. They held this massive rock concert because American bands weren't allowed in the Soviet previously to that. So they got biggest metal and rock bands in the world, and they came and played this massive gig, and a million people turned up. And Pantera started. I don't know, some of you might not know who Pantera are, but they play, and like there's just all these Russians going crazy, and all these military guys. There's literally military guys in the mosh pits and just everywhere, and they're just bashing guys with their guns who are getting a bit too excited, and yeah, it's good times. So I'm Daniel. I have a marketing company called Brand Yourself Better, or BYB Marketing. I help businesses with their marketing strategy. I do marketing training, workshops, stuff like that.
That's enough.
Is that it? Yeah.
No, about your business. So it's just name what you do. It's not a full list.
So what were we saying? What we missed?
So introduce yourself. Name, where you are, what you do. So you work in marketing, got your own company in marketing. What your lockdown situation is. So the kid.
So I live in Hamilton with my partner. So I have a 15-year-old who lives at his mum's in Tauranga. So I still haven't seen him since before lockdown. But I think now buses and stuff might be, or I could at least go pick him up. Worst part of lockdown has definitely been sort of the gyms and cafes. I'm right into my gym, and sort of have been my whole life. So not having that has been a huge thing for me, changing routines and stuff. I've been trying to do home workouts. I've been doing Michelle Bridges with my partner, her home workout videos. So if you're into Michelle Bridges.
Is that like a Jane Fonda?
She did, I think she was the Australian version of that fat program they had. What was it called? The Biggest Loser? Sorry, fat program. Biggest Loser about 10, 15 years ago when that was on TV. I think she was one of the personal trainers on that.
Okay.
But anyway, best part is I've had heaps of time to sit down and create heaps of content and stuff, I guess, and spend more time learning about shit then, because I sort of had a couple of clients put on hold, so I've had a lot more time to sort of fill doing stuff that you don't really get time to do sometimes. So that's, yeah. But to be honest, I fucking hate it. Like, some of you are like, oh, I like the quiet. I'm like, man, I'm over it. Yeah. Yesterday when I drove out and there was cars again, it was like a big sigh of relief. I was like, oh, yes. So
You stop biting nails, eh? You're allowed out of the cage.
yeah, because I'm quite an energetic person. So for me to be confined in a house all day is just fucking.
You want to come and walk my dog? Like over the Anzac weekend, I did. So my turn, okay. I'm Ryan Ashton, founder of AFQY Yarns, as an AFQY cafe, a variation of the original event. And I'm in West Auckland with my wife and my dog. And our dog is hyperactive. Like, seriously, he has broken ligaments in both his hind legs through hyperactivity. And you imagine trying to keep that dog still for 12 weeks while those injury operations recover. So over Anzac weekend, I did a complete digital detox. I did do an Anzac Day post, because I do that every Anzac as part of remembrance. And I did do a level 3 lockdown post. But other than that, I didn't touch my phone, or a device. So no work, no social, no nothing. It was an amazing difference, because I would normally, like, I would liken it to also to sugar detox. No sugar in my diet for those 3 days. No processed sugar. So amazing difference. A, slept better. B, woke up not feeling tired. C, I didn't have to fight to focus, or fight to think, or fight to make a decision. Like, I was getting to the point where I couldn't even say a word. It was stuck in my head, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth, just in a normal sentence. Like, if my wife asked me a question, do you want a drink? Do you want water, Coke, or juice? And I'd be like, floundering on my keyboard, and I couldn't even say one of the three, and then eventually just go, water. So now it's quite weird, because my mind seems unlocked and free, and it's kind of like the Big Bang of the universe. It's all just, I'm trying to pull it back into some sort of focus now, but at least it's free. So that's probably been one of the good things of the lockdown. One of the worst things of the lockdown is my wife's was meant to have a surgery before Christmas, and a bunch of emergency surgeries came in and bumped her back. And just as we're about to get a date, which would have been during lockdown, we obviously can't do surgery during lockdown, so we're nervously awaiting an important surgery, and in the meantime hoping that what it's going to fix doesn't burst, basically. You gotta go, Joe? There must be, it's 9:12, that's cool. So anyone that's got to go, thank you very much, good to see you. So yeah, that's the worst part, is just that forced waiting game. But yeah, a lot of what's been said, from doing the home projects to getting Kyle to help me set up my Microsoft email. So I now have a Microsoft email and a Google email, just to make things really confusing and hard. Yeah, probably the other thing is that with the flood of opportunity has come the stagnation of opportunity. I've had so many requests for all sorts of weird and wonderful things, sort of on the verge of my knitting, but not quite my knitting. So it's been quite tough creating new proposals that are so close but not quite the same. So instead of being able to have here's the AFQY proposal, it's all these variations, probably also added to the overload of the brain. But I don't know if you can hear. That's one of the resident tuis. Do you hear that bird in the background? You do? Yeah, so the other discovery, and this is where I'll finish, and we'll come back to general discussion. I discovered that tuis actually have two things on their neck, not just one. So we've got the biggest tui I've ever seen. Like, it would be like a chicken. Don't worry, I'm not going to eat it, but that sucker is big. Anyway, that's me. So we're now just on 9:15 with quarter of an hour officially to go, and I have a 9:30 with Millie and Arshin, so I can't be late to that because they know why. But over to you. Open discussion. This is the AFQY Cafe. Any points that anyone picked up that want to elaborate on, or ask questions, or talk to each other?
It's hard to make you out with that toy in the background.
Oh, really?
It's quite loud. So where are you? Are you like right on the edge of town or something, or are you just sort of in a...
No, we're in Te Atatu South, so we have a property. It's a shitter of a house, and that might be a bit bright. It's a 1970s board and batten, so it's a. Yeah. I call it the tree hut.
I've sold some houses like that. I know exactly what they're like.
Yep. So we've had open electrical wires that would kill you if you touch them. So we have. So up there is one pile of work at the garage. We have the whole property is wrapped by some sort of bush. That was to be the rugby field, but it's now the dog field. So yeah, that's the backyard. And through there, I don't know, that probably looks like a big bright sunlight, is the Sky Tower. So that's where I am. That's why it looks like I'm in the... But if you sit here, it looks like I'm in the bush.
Yeah, your little piece of Kiwi paradise.
Yes. If anyone wants to help me do the gardening, you're welcome. Hey, there's a good thing from Kiwi history. Working bees, or probably global history. Did you do working bees in France, Vincent? Do you know what it is?
Not sure.
So a working bee is when you'd invite your friends over and they would come and help you do a big project, whether it be put a fence in or build a garden shed or a big chunk of gardening, not just your average lawn mowing. And afterwards you put on, if I put in the most Kiwi terms, you put on the piss mate. And so traditionally the blokes, so this is going back into my granddad's era even, the blokes would all bring around some beer, or the person who's putting it on would put the beer on, and they would have a few beers while they're working and chatting and talking. And the woman would look after, organise the kids and organise lunch. And it was quite traditional that barely any work got done, a lot of beer got drank, and there was a lot of fun, like some of the stories from my grandparents' days of the water fights and running through the house with the hose and all sorts of stuff that, conservative grandparents would never have done. Well, yeah, add a few beers and a bit of sun, and it goes crazy. So the concept is you get a bunch of your mates around to help with a big project. That's it.
I feel like I missed out on something because I haven't seen many people do that in France. I mean, we invite people and drink, but
you don't make them work first.
About the working part.
What about your other Kiwis?
So
old Kiwis.
A slightly different working bee, and it's a bit of a topic jump, sort of. Where I live in Kiwi, we've got over the back fence from me, there's all the sports reserves, and we're in the middle of doing a big extension to the reserve to add some more sports grounds and more recreational space. One of the things we did with that is making sure it's got a border of native trees. And that's 940 trees, or 940 native bushes we needed to get planted. So we thought, well, what's the most Kiwi way to do that? And we invited the local school to come over. And this was months ago, and the kids still talk about it. The school came over for 2 hours, the entire school, which is 150 kids. It's a country school. And they all, basically use slave labor. They all planted these 950 trees. And
let's call it a bonding session and an education rather than...
I don't think slave labor is the politically correct term for it.
No, not really.
We creatively procured labor, put it that way.
See you, Dean. Thank you very much.
And I think that's a really important Kiwi thing, is that we did it together. Yes, we're going to have to get them back in to plant another 200 bushes because some of them weren't planted very well and died. But I think that's a really, the idea of the...
Is that the problem of the workers, though, or the problem of the employers who didn't train the workers to do the job properly?
There was no official employment contract in place. I'm like, there was an OSH briefing. Like, please don't bite things, because, you know, we're 5-year-olds as well. Please don't lick the plants. Maybe we could have trained them a little bit better, and explained that, yeah, that they need roots attached to the bushes when you put them in the ground.
Oh yeah, don't break them.
I'm like, if you look at what is a legacy to leave, to me, I can go for a walk and be hanging out in 900 native plants that we helped do.
Yeah. And pretty much anyone that walks through the place at the same time, you can sort of turn around and go, oh, I remember that one or when we did that. Yeah, that's some of the things that I miss. Like I grew up and mum was the president of the softball club, and that meant obviously our family she was quite involved, which by nature we were always involved, played softball as well, but always a big community of people around. And I remember we used to do fundraising, like selling raffle tickets. Like I've still got my softball glove from, I'm 43 now. I sold the raffle tickets when I was 5. And I've still got the softball glove and still remember all those memories of, like, this glove's big for me now as an adult, let alone when I was a 5-year-old. It was like, but yeah, those sorts of community memories. But this leads into the neighbourly thing and what's happening now of us getting more neighbourly. Like, has everyone who's been out for a walk found that we were extremely kind, patient, neighbourly in the first 2 weeks, and now I actually have to ask people to give me 2 meters clearance still? You find people slipping back?
I live in a city, so that's a little bit of a hard thing to come by. People in the apartments sort of keeping the distances still. Haven't had too many interactions.
I don't know, I've found a bit of a mix. Like when I've gone out for my walks or whatever, and like just say you're walking one way and you're seeing other people coming your way, they almost expect you to move rather than them also moving. I mean, just out of sort of habit, as soon as I see someone moving, I kind of just go to the side so that they have enough space. But I've more often than not, I've just seen people expect you to do it rather than them doing it also.
That's a big question I have in life in general, is why does everybody seem to expect me to move? I look like the last person you'd expect to be kind and patient, but yeah, I found that too. So when we go for walks, we just automatically move ourselves because my wife is high at risk, and we just, it's no bother. But it's interesting to see some people just keep walking towards you like it's a game of chicken. And I just like, oh well, whatever, I'll move. It's not the end of the world. But you do sort of think what goes through their mind that they haven't even thought about it.
When I've seen some people go for a run, I just automatically move to the side because, I don't know, they have their own rhythm and they usually say, hey, thanks. But it's the people that are just walking along, I'm hoping with people in their bubble, because a couple of people that I've seen don't seem to be from the same bubble. They just kind of look at you walking towards them, and they just expect you to move. Whilst they just continue on with their conversations or whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah. How about you, Paul? How's that guy that lives next to you? Is he respectful in his bubble?
Terrible. The noise is like, we have to wear earphones all day. It's just a constant racket. It's like hardcore house music. It's like trance coming out all day.
Oh, really?
Put some subwoofers on the roof as well, so it's not helping.
Yeah, I found all my old CD collection from the 2000s when I was running clubs. So yeah, there's some hardcore. And does anyone remember Happy Hardcore? You're all too young. Oh my goodness. So
no, I probably wasn't sober enough to remember.
So dance music started in about 85 with Kraftwerk, German, which is kind of what you now call progressive house. But it went through stages of being really hard, really fast, through to more rhythmic and what we now classically call house. But before house, there was hardcore, and that can get up to, so house is 130 beats a minute, and hardcore is 240 to 260 beats a minute. So you can imagine it's like the heavy metal of dance music. And here's a funny story to wrap up with. Okay, I found the album that I did my first professional dancing to. So I was at a rave in Australia, and me and a mate were dancing. And this guy come along and goes, "Hey, you guys are really good dancers. Do you want to come and join us?" And we're like, "Oh, where?" And they're like, "Oh, with us." So they took us through. This is in this building called the Arena. It had 3,500 people in Brisbane, and we went through the door. And the next thing, we're on stage in front of the whole room, and basically looked at each other, froze for about a second, and then started dancing away to the music like we were before. It was kind of one of those sort of very surreal moments. But then through my bartender club running career, I ended up doing the odd cameo stint of podium dancing. So, Cafe de Paris. Have you been to Cafe de Paris in London, Vincent? So Cafe de Paris is an old ballroom that was built, I believe, during the First or Second World War. So you go through a doorway off Piccadilly Circus downstairs, so it's all underground, but it's this massive ballroom. So it was sort of like and there's a VIP room that you go down to, which is like the rock is chiseled out of, the walkway's chiseled out of rock, but you go really deep underground. So it was like the bunker. So you could have your party, and if there was a raid, then you could go underground. I'm not quite sure if that's actually true, if that was just a story I got fed, but Cafe de Paris was a night at this venue, and it was just the most amazing ballroom. But it also had panels on the wall, so if you knew where they were, you could push a panel on the wall and it would open up, and there'd be a stairway that would go to another room. Oh yeah, this is like, so you can imagine when you're partying, hey, oh look at this. But I ran into a guy, so I was running another bar called Pop, which was maybe famous or not famous for, remember Billy Piper, musician? No? Oh man, you're all too young. Anyway, I was working at Pop, and I was just taken over as new bar manager, and there's a group of, before they would open, there's a group with the general manager. The general manager says, "Oh, come over here, Ryan, I'll introduce you to a bunch of people." So going around in the circle, introducing everyone, and they were talking with me, their, whatever accent they had. And this guy who looked Middle Eastern, you could say, and his name was Lewis Khan. And they went, "Lewis, this is Ryan." And Lewis went, "Oh, jolly good to meet you, Ryan." And quite a posh accent. And I went, "Yeah, hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Oh, bro, what part of New Zealand are you from?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm from Dunedin. Where are you from?" Because I'm from Manukau. And everyone in the circle had never heard him speak with a New Zealand accent. He'd always only ever been known as Lewis Khan, who was very posh and super well dressed. And he used to run the whole of London's high-end night scene. Like if you wanted a table sitting with Prince Harry, you went through him, right? And here's this guy from Manukau. So he was like, "You want to go anywhere? Just let me know." So that was like my instant hookup. I had a few good connections, but that was probably the best. But the funniest thing was this guy that talked with a real plum in his mouth, who dressed in like really, really high-end like fashion designer clothing, and he spoke like this, "Jolly, yes, that's fun. Oh yeah, we can do that, yes." And he goes, "Oh bro, where are you from?" And all the people's faces just dropped. Like, anyway, so there's my dirty secret. I used to be a podium dancer. It started with hardcore music in Australia, and then went on to house music at the likes of Cafe de Paris. And I even danced on stage at Ministry of Sound's 9th birthday. But that was maybe a little unplanned. Anyway, we'll wrap up here because I've got to get to a 9:30 in 1 minute with Millie and Arshin. So thank you very much for being part of AFQY Cafe. What I used to say at AFQY, I should say here, is if you enjoyed it, then bring someone new along, like Vincent brought Paul. If you have any suggestions, because what I really want is for the open conversation to flow. So the going around introducing each other, I haven't quite worked out the flow between, and always try to be fair. So you can have someone introduce himself, have a bit of a chat after that, have a bit of a chat, but sometimes the chat gets a bit big and long, and we don't get to introduce. So any and all suggestions are welcome because we're pretty relaxed. But with that, I will say ka kite anō and press the end meeting button. Bye. See you soon, Millie. See you soon, Ashin.